Alright guys, this should be pretty easy. You're just going to go to this review right here. I do not care which multiplication game you play. I'm going to show you one of them, and I'll show you how to find the others. So, yeah, what? You could, but you need to get up a little bit more than that, right? Yeah. So we're giving it a second. It's taking its time. Did I click something? There we go. Okay, you're just going to say play. I'm going to say play. See this number over here? I want to multiply to 21. What are two numbers? What two numbers do I need to multiply to 21? Yeah, if I pick 3 and 7, it won't let me pick them unless they're touching. What about numbers for 20? I could literally pick any 5 and 4. Doesn't matter what they are. Okay, if you need to pause for any reason, you just press pause. But you're going to play for about 10 minutes. You want to get to at least level 4. If you want to play a different game, that's totally fine. You're just going to come down here, and you're going to pick multiplication games. Pick anything you want. That's a multiplication game. Now, if it says preview, you have to pay to play that game, and I'm assuming you don't want to pay to play a multiplication game. So just pick anything you want. I like this one. You get to shoot things. There's snake. There's all sorts.
You have the notes from last week?
Of course. Okay, now that you've done your warm-up, make sure you take a screenshot and that you attach it, okay? So I only played for 1 minute and 57 seconds and I got to level 3. I'm hoping you got past level 3 in 10 minutes. Once you've attached your screenshot, let's do the notes, okay? I'm using a different program to record just to try to make it so that that recording thing isn't in the way of the notes. I feel like you guys do better when you can actually see what I'm doing. Call me crazy. So everybody owes you a thank you. Because of you, I cut the assignment into 2 days instead of 1 day. So let's break down the solving part. Let's start with this. Do you guys know how to factor this? Do you guys remember how to factor this? Okay, so we did this last week. The factoring. Do you remember how we made a big X? We multiplied for the bottom, added for the top. Let's go through it. Okay, you're going to draw yourself a fat X. The number that's all by itself with no letters goes in the bottom. The number or the coefficient of the second term, or your b, goes in the middle. We want to multiply for these ones, and we want to add for those two. You okay over there, Betty? Zoning hard? Zoning hard? Yeah. To be fair, I'm struggling too. So I figure if I'm struggling, y'all have to be struggling. I forgot to do attendance. I need to pull it up so I can remember. Okay. Okay, guys, give me things that multiply to 48. Any two numbers in the whole world that you can make 48 out of. 12 and 4. Okay, is there any way that 12 and 4 can add to 14? No. They're not bad though, right? I'd break it down again. 4 times 4 times 3. So I'm just breaking things down. What about if I did 16 and 3? Is there any way for 16 and 3 to go to 14? No, so I got to break it down again. What about 6 and 8? See how I'm thinking of this? I'm thinking of this as 8, and I'm thinking of this as 6, because 4 times 2 is 8, and 2 times 3 is 6. What about 6 and 8? Those add to 14. They multiply to 48. These are called your factors. So once we've done this, you just set up your parentheses. So it's 2 sets of parentheses, because that's a 2. If that was a 3, we'd have to do something else. We would have 3 sets. But it's just going to be v plus 6, v plus 8. And when you multiply them together, it has to give you a 0. Okay, this is scratch work, so you don't need to write it down. You may write it down, but I'm going to write it on here. If I have 10 times an unknown and it equals 0, what's x?
0.
Yeah, because I could divide by 10. X has to be 0. The only way to get 0, one of your numbers has to be 0. You follow me when you're multiplying? There's no other way to get a 0. So I'm just going to take each one of these, and I'm going to say v plus 6 has to equal 0, and v plus 8 has to equal 0. Minus the 6. Am I right in assuming that you guys didn't do this last week, or you didn't understand it last week, and we need to review this? Should we throw out today's assignment and review last week's? Okay. Everyone owes you another thank you. Okay, I will save this assignment for next week. I'm just going to throw it in the back. Can we change the title then? Because I'm not going to show you completing the square if we haven't mastered this. Please cross this out. Please change it to review factoring. You guys with me? You were not ready for that. It's not fair for me to push you on that level if you are not prepared. Give me 1 second to pull up different questions, because I cannot throw this level of questions at you if we haven't mastered the others. Yep, save that one. Yep. Yep. Okay. Let's just do, can I just have factoring though? All right. Let's go through the steps again. Since we're switching gears here, let's do the steps. Step 1 is always going to be GCF. Do you guys remember what GCF stands for? Greatest?
Common factor.
Yeah. Common factor. Okay. What level do we want to start at? Do we want to start at level 0, level 1, level 2? There's about 5 levels. Should we start at level 0? Okay. What can I take out of every single term? What can I? A 5. So I'm going to put a 5 out front. How do I figure out what goes inside? Basically divide by 5 for each thing. 5 divided by 5 cancels out, and you just have a b squared. What's 30 divided by 5? Notice the difference between my 6 and my b. What's 135 divided by 5? I think it's 27, but I'm just doing that in my head, so I could be wrong. It is 27. Okay, that's always going to be your step 1. Okay, step 2, multiply a to c. So remember, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. My number in front here is an invisible 1. You're going to take that 1 and multiply it to the 27. Now I'm going to tell you right now, if the number is 1, you don't have to do this step. Because what's 1 times anything? Whatever it used to be, right? 1 times 10 is 10, 1 times a million is a million. Step 3, set up your x. You're going to have a times c here. You're going to have b here. We want to multiply. We want to add. You ready? Alrighty. So let's do this. What number is going to go here? Negative 27. What number is going to go on the top? Negative 6. Can we think of any numbers that multiply to 27? Remember, we're going to multiply to this one. 9 and 3, absolutely. That can get me a 27, and it can get me a 6. Which one needs to be negative? If the 3 is negative, it would make me a negative 27. If the 3 is negative, does it give me a negative 6? It gives me a positive 6. So which one do we want to put negative? The 9. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, okay, so we set this up. The next thing we did was we found factors. Remember, the factors are these things. Step 5 is set up your parentheses, okay? Got to set those parentheses up. So the 5 is going to be chilling out front. And then you set up 2 groups because the power is 2. What's my letter? What's my variable? What's my variable? Just B. And then we just put our factors in. Minus 9 plus 3. You're done. I forgot a step because we multiplied by A. I'm going to add it here. Divide factors by A. We'll come back to that on a more difficult one. Is it okay if I turn the page? You don't have to if you still have room, but mine won't fit here what I need to do with writing steps and explanation. Yours probably will, but I'm gonna turn the page for me. So that was example 1, that was example 2. Okay, I'm gonna scroll to the bottom because I see people still writing. Michael, you trying to copy this down or something else? Do you need me to pause? Okay. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing? How about I make it so you can? Okay, right off the bat, I want to point something out. What's my power? Right now, you do not have the tools to factor cubed. If you get a power that's bigger than 2, you have to be able to take that letter out of each one. Can you see how there's an R in each one? I'm going to be able to take an R out front. What number, what coefficient can I take out for each one? What's a factor of each of those? Yeah, 6. I'm just taking a quick attendance, I forgot. Holloway, you're here. No. I haven't decided yet. Pedro, I feel like Pedro, right? No? Laura's here. Oscar? Angel's not here today. Jose? No, he was here yesterday. Jared, you're Jared. Jose's not here today. Gustavo's not here today. Michael is here today. And Diego, you're here, yeah? And Jacob, you're Vargas, right?
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so I'm going to take the 6 out of each thing. So if I divide by 6 and an R, because that's what I took out. Diego, what's 6 divided by 6? Pardon? 1. You're okay. Jacob, R cubed divided by R. What's my new power? Do you know what to do? Subtract. 3 take away 1.
R squared.
Yeah, just R squared. Oscar, 36 divided by 6.
3.
Mm-hmm. Jared, R squared divided by R. Just take 1 away from the power.
R.
R. Laura, negative 42 divided by 6.
7. -7.
Good. Michael, R divided by R. Yeah, there's no R's left, so we don't need to write it. Holloway, help me set up my fat X. Okay. What goes here?
Oh, -7.
Good. What goes on the top?
+6.
Yep. Perfect. Diego, can you help me find some factors? What are 2 numbers that multiply to 7? 7 times. Yeah. It's a prime one, so it's a little bit tricky. Jacob, which one do we want to have it be negative? The 7 or the 1? Which one?
The 1.
The 1. Why do we want the 1 negative? Best guess? Okay. So it doesn't matter which one's negative for the 7, but when we're adding them together, since they're different signs, we want the positive, we want it to come out positive, so we want the bigger number positive. If this was a negative, we would put the 7 on, the negative on the 7. Okay? Oh, Oscar, help me set it up. What's going to go here? What's my letter?
R.
Good. And then you just put this guy. Plus 7. You with me?
No, I don't get how you did it. Like, why?
See how that one just came there?
I know, but like, why did you put the 7 and like not any of the other numbers, you know? It's one of the factors.
This not.
It's one of the factors?
Yeah.
So how do you know which one goes first? Like the 7 or the -1?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter?
Nope.
Alright.
What goes here? Yep. Omar, would it help if I showed you how to go from this back to the start? Or would that be more confusing? You want me to show you?
Huh?
Do you need me to show you and help you connect the dots?
Yeah.
All right, so this is scratch paper. So when you have two binomials, which just means these parentheses with two things in them, do you remember that we FOIL it out? So r times r squared. R times -1 minus r plus 7r minus 7. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. These go together. Can you see that we've now taken it from factors back one step?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then if we multiply this, can you see we're back to the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We're just going from this form down to individual factors.
Oh, alright.
You got it?
Yeah.
Now remember that this is equal to 0. So you're going to set each thing equal to 0. 6r equal to 0. R plus 7 equal to 0. R minus 1 equal to 0. How many different equations do I have? 3. What was my power? The highest power. You're always going to match. Whatever the highest power is, that's how many equations you should have. There's only one exception. I'm going to show you really, really quickly. If you had something like this, I can take an x squared out. This is just a, don't write it down. But because this is an x squared, I'm still just going to get 3 equations. Because that counts as 2. I could write x equals 0 twice. It's just not worth it. Okay, you guys with me? Yes, no? We're okay on this? Jared, how do I get the r by itself? Plus, minus, multiply or divide? Divide by what? By what? What's with the r? What number's with it? Okay, just divide by the 6. Guys, what's 0 divided by 6?
0.
Good. Anybody, how do I get this r by itself? What about this one? plus 1, plus 1. Can I tell you something? These are also your zeros, your x-intercepts, and your roots. They all mean the same thing. Can I go up to level like 3? We're at level 2 now. Can we go to level 3? And then maybe level 4? I'm gonna do it. All right. Can I GCF? Can I take a 3 out of each of these? Can I take a 3 out of 3? Yes. Can I take a 3 out of 30? I see you nodding your head yes. Can I take a 3 out of 23? 23 is prime. You can't touch it. So what we do now is we set up our x. See how this is a number in front? You got to multiply it to that 30 before you put it here. What's 3 times 30? 90. What number is going to go on the top? Negative 23. Now here's the truth, y'all. I almost never multiply these out. I just leave it like that because I don't need to know what that number is. I just need to know what its factors are. So is there any way that 3 and 30 can get me to 23? Nah, so let's break it down some more. I could have 3 times 3 times 10. What about 9 and 10? Can that get me to 23? No. Break it down again. Now there's a lot of different ways I can put this together. I could do 6 and 15. I could do not 18 and 5. I could do 45 and 2. Do you guys see what I'm doing? I'm just putting the different factors together. So I could do, so if I did 3, 3, and 2 all together, that'd be 18 and 5. You follow me? I could also have done 3, 3, 5, and 2. So these ones together, which would be 45 and 2. Is 45 and 2 going to work for me at all? That's not going to get me to 23. What about 18 and 5? Could those get me to 23? Yeah. Do we want them to be positive or negative? They both have to be negative. They both have to be negative so that they can multiply to a positive and add to a negative. Now this is the first one we've done where the front number isn't just a 1. So I'm going to do the next few steps to just give you an example. We're going to set it up just like we always would. Since we multiplied by 3, you have to divide by 3. If you can simplify, do. If it doesn't simplify, put it in front. You are done. If I multiplied this back out, I'd get back to my original. Do we need another one about that level? I think so too. That is. if I'm understanding this correctly, we need today to do a review, but you don't need any new assignments. You just need time to get caught up. Okay. I won't give you new assignments then. We'll just do our review. Okay, you ready? What can we take out of every single coefficient? What's a common factor? 3. So I'm going to put a 3 out front. What's going to be my new first term? Remember, just divide by 3. What's 21 divided by 3? 7. And the n squared is just chilling. What's 12 divided by 3?
4.
What's negative 9 divided by 3? Negative 3. Now notice we did have a GCF, but the number in front is not a 1. So we take this number, multiply it to the end to set up our x's. Well, I don't even have to give me a number. I don't need to know what that number is. I just need to know what the factors are. Will negative 3 and positive 7 get me to a 4? Yeah, that's nice. It's already done for me. Now, it doesn't matter which one is where. You could flip those if you want. Set up your parentheses. What's my variable? What letter's my variable? Write it down at the front of each one. Exactly. Minus 3 plus 7. You guys ready? There's one harder level. Shall I show it to you? I'm trying to find a good example. Because I wasn't planning on doing this today, I don't have them selected already. It's going to take me just a minute to find a good one. I do think we need to do something like that. There's 2 more that I want to show you. Why can't I find what I'm looking for? Okay. I can't find what I'm looking for, so I'm just going to make my own. Give me 1 second. I have to do some quick multiplication. Okay. I want to give you 2 more examples. The first one is super easy, but most people get thrown off by it. What's throwing you off about this? What makes this one different? What makes this one different, y'all? It doesn't have the last term. If it doesn't have the last term, it's going to be pretty easy. You just GCF. So I could take a 3 and a P out of both of those. and I'm done. What makes this one different? Doesn't have a b. B is 0. Give me two numbers that multiply to 9. 3 and 3. Make one of them negative. They add to 0. They multiply to negative 9. This is called a difference of squares. Super easy. Same concept. Same idea right here. What can I GCF? What?
Divided by 4.
Yeah, divide it by 4. See how it still doesn't have a b term? See how it still has a squared, but it doesn't have that middle term? What are two numbers that multiply to negative 4 and add to 0? 2 and negative 2. That's it. Ready for the last kind? That's the hardest kind you're going to see. Tell me when you're ready. I'm going to call this one 7b. All right, you guys, can I GCF anything? Are there any common factors? No? Jared, what's my next step? Can you see Jared? Do you need to move closer? Okay. What do we do if there's no common factors? What do we do then? Hold on, it's Jared's turn. Do you know what to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Holloway, you want to help him out? 12 to the 10. I'm literally too lazy to multiply it out. I know it's 120, but I don't want to write it. I just put my two factors. Diego, what goes on the top? 7. Jacob, is there any way for 12 and 10 to get me to 7? No, so we're going to have to break it down some more. Oscar, can you break down 12 into two factors? Don't care which ones you pick.
6 and 2.
6 and 2, perfect.
Oh, 6 and 2 already.
That's fine. Jared, can you break down 10 into two factors? Two numbers that multiply to 10? 5 and 2, perfect. Okay, we could. I don't bother because I know that one of these is going to have to be negative. If I put 6 and 5 together, that's 30, right? Is there any way for 30 and 4 to get me to 7?
No.
So I'm going to have to break it down again. Can I break down 2? Can I break down 5? Can I break down 2? Can I break down 6? Let's break it down. What are my numbers? 3 and 2. And then I'm just going to write all these again. Now, honestly, I'm pretty sure we can't do 12 and 10. What about 20 and 6? No. What about 15 and 8? That would work, right? You guys see how I'm grouping it? 15, so 3 and 5 together, that's 15. 2 times 2 is 4. And then another 2 makes it 8. That could get me to 7, right? So 15 and 8. One of these has to be negative. Do we want the 8 or the 15 negative? The 8, because we want it to come out as a positive 7. Set up your factors. So we're going to do t plus 15, t take away 8. Now this looks like I'm done, but what am I forgetting? Since I multiplied by 12, what do I got to do? Divide each of these by 12. Now this is the hardest level you're ever going to see, and that includes in college. I mean, I can make it so that you can't factor it, and you have to use quadratic or completing the square, but let's just not. Okay, you ready? Can I reduce this? I can. Two numbers that multiply to 15. 3 times 5. Two numbers that multiply to 12. 3 times 4. So I can cross those out. Break down the 8. Two numbers that multiply to 8. 4 and 2, 12. 4 and 3. Okay, so far this is where I'm at. And then you just pop the denominator in front. And you're done. I always like to check 4t times 3t. That gets me back to the 12t squared. I'm good. If that doesn't get me back to there, I'm missing something. Your brain tired? Okay, give me a few minutes. I'm going to create this assignment as an extra credit assignment so that you get points for doing this review with me. It's going to take me a minute to figure out how to set that up so that you can turn it in and get points, okay? But go ahead and work on your late work and get caught up. Yes, sir. Of course.